start the next session. We are happy to have Josephine Samuel with us. She has worked with different companies in the past couple of years. She has worked with CBC Land, Trust Square, and recently she has co-founded the Swiss NFT Association. We are happy to have her today to discuss about the Swiss Web3 ecosystem. Please, floor is yours.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for being here, and I'm really excited to share on this topic with you. So a little bit about myself. I have a degree in architecture, but also in banking and finance. And as you have heard, I have co-founded Swiss NFT Association most recently. My crypto journey began in 2017, but I didn't fully understand it at the time. So it took me a while to understand the importance and to come back into the space. And in 2019, I went into a deep dive, started really trading, investing, self-educating myself, going into DeFi, and at the same time getting professional experience. So yeah, I've worked at CBVC, Seba Bank. If you're from Switzerland, you would know these names. Also worked with a crypto fund at a family office. And due to my background also in architecture, NFTs were a big interest for me because it brought a space where a lot of different fields could come together. I also supported a metaverse project from Germany called Bridgeland on the conception of the white paper, and also supported a few smaller NFT projects. And so why NFTs and why Swiss NFT Association? The focus in Switzerland was mainly in the blockchain space, was mainly in finance and DeFi, and all the other fields were kind of a little bit left out. So there was a need for it. Also, I felt that talking to a lot of different people about blockchain, that NFTs were maybe the first time that it was much easier for people to understand about the field, because it was visual, it was interactive, and many people from different fields could come into the space. And also, as I said, my creative side really excited me to bring into the space not only finance, but also creative side. So what is the Web3 space in general in 2023? So if we look at Asia, they have the highest adoption rate specifically for NFTs. Like China, Hong Kong, and Singapore are one of the top 3. And if we look at marketplaces for NFTs, most recently, if you have heard about Blur and OpenSea. So OpenSea has been founded in 2017, and it was, or still is, the biggest NFT marketplace. But Blur came in, and in 2022, they created a NFT trading platform. And through that, they were able to do very low fees and kind of became a competitor of OpenSea. So if we look at users and volume, OpenSea has many more users, but volume-wise, Blur is taking over. If we look at the DeFi space, Ethereum is still the largest, then Tron, Binance Chain, and Arbitrum, and then come all the other ones. And if we look at the DAO area, owning Ethereum still gives you the biggest voting rights in the companies. So this is coming from deepdao.io, but of course there are also many other sources. So if we look a little bit at the NFT history, so the first NFT actually, even though NFT became popular in 2021, it goes all the way back to 2014 by Kevin McCoy. The first piece was the Quantum. And then in 2015, Spells of Genesis was the first blockchain game on Bitcoin, actually. And then Rare Papers were the first NFT collection on Bitcoin, and even though we hear about OpenSea and thinking that might be the first marketplace, but Counterparty was the first marketplace where an NFT was sold. And in 2017, CryptoKitties came and the CryptoPunks on Ethereum, which brought a bigger interest into this topic. And of course, Axie Infinity, if you like gaming, this was the first kind of play-to-earn model which really brought the NFT space into gaming. And then in 2020, Decentraland, the first virtual land, created this big interest. Many people were skeptical. What does this mean? What do we do with this? But now we see many more metaverses taking place. And then Art Blocks was the first generative art NFT. And then we had NBA Top Shot, which was one of the first big brands that went into the space, selling sports moments as NFTs. Of course, Bored Ape Yacht Club in 2021 really brought the topic into interest with the big sales, big ticket sizes, and then the following years, many more large brands followed in the drinks industry, brands, sunglasses, cars, and also most recently Salesforce, which also showed the professional side of CRMs going into the space. So what are the different types of NFTs and what can we actually do with this? There are NFTs which are on-chain and off-chain, which means you can either, it's permanently there, or you can go back and change things in the contracts. You also have Bitcoin ordinals. This is a topic that has been interesting in the last months, even though it's nothing new. As we already saw, you can have NFTs on Bitcoin already a long time ago, but this is a topic that has been quite interesting recently because you're taking up space in the Bitcoin Satoshis, which you can never change. Of course, you can also have utility, you can have profile pictures or one-of-one, which means only one piece per collection. There's also generative art, which is an automated creation, which is not decision-making. The decision-making is not coming from an artist. Also soulbound tokens, digitals, so there's many different types also that still haven't been discovered, and many more are coming. And of course, you've already heard about art, music, gaming as being some of the use cases, but you can also have certificate of ownership, proof of authenticity, digital ID. So all of these really open up space for many industries to take place, and not just art or gaming, which are kind of the more popular areas at the moment. So looking into Switzerland, you can see that why Switzerland? Why should Web3 or blockchain companies be here? You might have already heard in some other talks this weekend, but of course the regulation is one, the banking system here, which allows for crypto startups to have space and focus on their creation rather than legal topics or being able to even open a bank account. And of course, we have a political stability, you have good talent, so there's a lot of different areas. And also at the same time, the universities are supportive, which oftentimes happens to be one of the last areas. But as you can see, there are many universities in Switzerland which are already talking and teaching about blockchain. And if we look at, go a little bit deeper into regions, so on the left side you will see kind of terms which are interesting, and it's really interesting looking into the different areas of Switzerland. So for Web3, Zug, Zurich, Geneva are on the top, but if you go into DAOs, then Geneva, and then you see Basel, Zug. So it's interesting to see which parts of the country are interested in different areas of Web3. And on the right, you see that Zug is one of the most prominent cities due to mainly its tax benefits and also the crypto valley. Then we have Zurich, Geneva, and also Liechtenstein, kind of part of Switzerland slowly. So if we look into art, gaming, music, the three kind of popular topics that people talk about for Web3. So why is this so revolutionary? So you might have already heard that, for example, with art, many artists, when they put their work into galleries, they can take up to 30 to 60% of the profits. And the blockchain Web3 NFTs give them a new opportunity to actually keep most of the income for their hard work. So, for example, with different marketplaces, marketplaces, you have around 2% fees taken, and the rest stays with the artists. And then you have royalties, which is also a controversial topic right now because, for example, if you have heard about OpenSea recently giving royalties to artists, but due to it being centralized and due to having competition with Blur, they actually lowered their royalties from 7% all the way down to 0.5%. So that also calls for that we need more decentralized marketplaces. And also, of course, the whole interaction with you being an artist, with your clientele is much more direct. You get direct feedback. You can also authenticate and own the piece. Also for digital art, a lot of times they didn't have space in galleries because they were not considered as important, and now there's a new market for it. If we go into gaming, like Axie Infinity, as I mentioned earlier, is a popular one, created the first play to earn. And there really, there's a whole new income stream, because before, if you were gaming and creating, you were not really earning anything with it. And now if you create, let's say, skins within the game, you can actually sell this in secondary market and create a new income stream, and also a new way of interacting and being. Like, what does Web3 mean, right? We said that it is a decentralized system which you can also input information as a user and not just consume coming from the company itself. So now the user is actually creating new things in the game itself. And that is also part of the co-creation. And then if we look into music, like Kings of Leon was the first, if you know this band from the States, they were the first ones to sell their whole album as an NFT. And of course, again, the royalties are a big part, and then you're an owner of an actual piece of the music. So again, you're on a different level connected to something that you like, and also that you have now the ability for your fans to really tell the value of what is the music or the song worth. And if we look into the music industry currently, we have a similar problem like in art. For example, Spotify, they earn only 70% the artists earn, and the 30% stays with Spotify. So the ratios are, one could say, unfair. So now if we go into community and engagement and education, so how does Web3 affect that? So with Web3, what can we do? We can create a community incentive, create exclusive access and loyalty programs. One of those ways that you can do is with POAPs, which is proof of attendance. I believe it's really interesting what you can do with POAPs. So the first one is, of course, you go somewhere, you can get a POAP, you prove that you were there. But it goes much deeper. You can, for example, at NFT Paris, there was a project called 9DCC, and what they did was they had a NFT which gives you merch, and this merch had an NFC chip in it, and you could basically go and tap their merch, and that also proved that you actually met that person at NFT Paris, and that you have this interaction. And then you can have this full community feeling as well. So if you meet other people who also have the 9DCC shirts, you're creating this relationship through Web3 technology. And also, if you're going to a big conference, you can create your own POAP, and people who meet you can mint your POAPs. And then if we look at, okay, so we have the technology, but how do we actually create the community besides the Web3 concepts? So something that we do at Swiss NFT Association, we do IRL in real life events. And through that, it's important for us specifically to really give quality content. So it's not just coming and talking about what is out there, but really educating and also informing everyone of what is going on. Also authenticity. For us, it's important that every single person is not an expert in everything. We can all share and learn from each other. So why don't we come together and really have this space where it's friendly and comfortable, and you can really help each other out in different projects, create collaborations, perhaps a new startup. So collaborations are also a really big part, and also decentralization. how can we all be part of this and still have voting rights, so DAOs and so on. So a little bit about Swiss NFT Association deeper. As I mentioned, we have IRL events. We are really focused on really creating value also for the members, so you don't just come, consume information, and then you leave. You're part of a community, you are contributing, you want it to grow, and we want that our startups and all the people that are with us, that we can all grow together and learn from each other. And actually, what I meant with decentralization also, that we can all create the space that we want to be seen in the Web3 space in the future. We are also creating a Web3 creation space, so you could call it co-working, but it's actually also a space where you can go meet like-minded people, you can work on things together, you can support one another, and help everybody grow together. We also like to do hands-on education, so in different ways where we can actually take out our laptops and actually do things together and not just talk about it, but learn and share. We also like to use the Web3 technology and not just talk about it, so we're creating, for example, NFT-based memberships. We want that we can have token-gated chats for the members, so in every way possible to actually use the tech, because then we're not just talking about it, we can also help for mass adoption as well. That's about it, and I hope that you guys will also join to one of our events. We have one on the 26th of April, and why not also become part of our family, and happy to chat with you afterwards.
Thanks a lot. It was really interesting to see how the NFT and basically Web3 ecosystem has been evolving throughout the years, and honestly, time flies. And when I was seeing those dates of starting from how many years ago, and see how interesting projects have evolved, have developed, and taken place, it's really interesting. And let's open the Q&A session. If there are questions, we are happy to answer. Please.
Thanks for the talk. I'm curious, where did you get the data for the detailed breakdown of like which city, which region is interested or focusing on which part of the ecosystem?
You mean the one with the Web3 and NFT?
Yeah.
Depending on the cities?
Yes.
Google Trends.
Oh.
All right. Next question. Yes, please.
Speaking about like the adoption of technologies, how do you see opportunities in getting all other crypto technologies benefiting from NFTs as they seem more approachable for, let's say, so to say, not so heavy technical users? So do you see like here that it may help with the explosion of everything and mutual fueling each other?
So if I understood your question correctly, how could other, let's say, non-techie people be part of this and contribute? And is that what you mean?
Yes, correctly. Like my experience is yes, is that I go to such conferences like here, places, and there are a lot of like. And it feels like living in a bubble, and then I go outside of the bubble and people are super disconnected. And with NFTs I see like that maybe there is opportunity to create a bridge, but not through technical means, but just engagements, fun, meetings, that people can just use this finance, that is not just only us nerds. And then maybe also the other technologies could benefit because the bridge would be created. Do you see this as a fuel in everything's going wrong?
Yeah, definitely, and that is exactly why I believe this space is like with when we go back to, let's say, only talking about blockchain and layers, and it can be very scary for a new person coming into the space. And if first of all, I think also all of these ways, for example, how you log into a wallet, how can you find your NFT, all of these kind of areas need to become more user-friendly, and that way people aren't scared about the tech and they're more excited about what you can do with it. So I think that's a really big part. And also what we try to do is to have people really talk about the areas in different fields, let's say fashion, cars, I don't know, design, and different areas where people are involved in that isn't about the technology, but it's about what you do anyways in your everyday life via the technology. So I think that's with Swiss NFT Association, that's really our goal, to show people that you do not have to be a technical person to participate. You can be in any field that you like, you can do any hobbies or your current job, but you can still take part. And that was actually why I stopped crypto in 2017, because I thought it's for coders and it's too scary and I don't have a space in the field. And I think once we can make that clear for everyone, that will really help mass adoption and for all different fields to come in.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir. Question.
Hi, thanks a lot for the talk, first of all. How come, I just had a brief look at your webpage, and how come you don't have, I mean, I don't know how long this has been set up for, but how come, you know, or rather, have you considered integrating, I mean, there's like some really organic integrations that would really be complementary to this in terms of the socials that you're using, so Web3 socials, or Web3 native, Lens protocol, rather than sort of the traditional.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, like Lens or like Farcaster, the ones that are NFT based, so where you actually only credentials yourself. So kind of drawing on the decentralized identity talk that we've just attended, but also just being a user and kind of a let's say a DSO enjoyer. I think
sure.
I would pair quite well, you know, rather than LinkedIn and stuff.
Sure. So the main reason is because, first of all, we began in November, so we're still quite new and adopting to the space. But also the main reason is because we could have directly, for example, also gone to Discord, right, and forgot everything else. But the reason is because we want everyone to grow with us together. And if we go directly too deep, then we will lose all the people who are not there yet. And this is what I meant also, that we grow together. So we really want to kind of take people on a journey. And for example, why do we use LinkedIn? Because people in Switzerland still are heavily on LinkedIn, even though most Web3 people would say that is not at all relevant, right? And also, I mean, I like the ideas, why not? I think we would definitely be happy to incorporate, and I'm happy to speak to you afterwards. And I think that's also one of the challenges. We have so many different ways of communicating. And that's also a challenge with, you know, like being on Twitter, being on Instagram. For example, with NFT artists, they're much more on Instagram than on Twitter because it's more visual and they want to show their art. And in the beginning, I was also very surprised, like, why is that the media that they're using? But I think also that kind of depends on which type of group of people that you want to attract, and also, to kind of grow into that space that everyone feels comfortable to be using those other social medias. But thank you for the comment.
All right, thank you so much. Are there further questions from the audience? Okay, if this is not the case, let's thank the presenter again.
Thank you.
We meet again.